Ooh, yeah, it's kind of rough to get it in. Uh, oh, I don't know if I want to do that exercise too often. Whew.
You may be wondering how I got myself into this situation. Well, that's sort of a mediocre story, so buckle up. To start, I designed and printed 2 casting molds that I'll use for production. One that I'll use directly and one for a small intermediate step, but more on that in a moment. Then I prepared the molds for casting. For the first one, I saw a small slit into it so I can release it more easily later, and then I tape it over. For the second mold, I can just glue everything together directly. With those molds prepared, it's time to pour some stuff. The first casting mold is just an intermediate step. I use it to create a silicone mold, which I then use to make the real tool. For that, we first prepare the vacuum chamber and then mix the silicone. After mixing, the mixture goes into the vacuum chamber to remove the air from it. After that, the mixture just needs to be poured into the mold and given some time to cure. Then I take the mold apart and get a silicone casting mold for making the cement tool. Next step, mix the cement and pour it into the molds. There's really not much to explain here. I think pretty much everyone has mixed cement at some point in their life. I finish the mixture and pour it into the molds. A few light shocks help avoiding too many air bubbles on the surface. After a few hours, the tools can be removed from the molds and we have the parts we need. This may be as well of a time as any to tell you about what the heck we're actually building. 3D printing is cool, no question about it, but some things they just don't want reprinted. And one of the most stubborn contenders, a shoehorn. Yeah, I know. A shoehorn might not scream cutting-edge tech challenge, but trust me, it is the perfect example of why some prints fail spectacularly. So let's break it down. To get things started, I'll show you 2 ways you might try printing a shoehorn and why both of them, well, suck. First up, printing it vertically. That puts a ton of weak points along the layer lines into this thing. Just a tiny bit of force and printing horizontally is not exactly better. Aside from shitty looking layer lines and support structures, artifacts printing like this also do not exactly make this thing durable. Now let's get back to creating this thing properly. The shoehorn blank is printed flat. This avoids all the drawbacks from the first 2 versions shown at the beginning of the video. The blank then goes between the 2 cement pieces and fits perfectly into the intended imprint. It goes into the oven at about 100 degrees Celsius. First the bottom piece with the blank, and once the plastic has softened, the second piece goes on top. The weight of the top piece presses the blank into its final shape. Looks pretty good so far. Nice. And then, first of all, please subscribe. But, well, you also end up with something like this, or like this, or the most flashy looking one, this. I know that they're working well because I've been using them for more than a year now, because you see everything you just saw, well, most of what you just saw I filmed about a year ago, more than a year ago actually. But then I had a heart attack and, made some shitty choices after that. Actually pretty good, but consequential choices after that. And, well, I finally had the time to finish up this video. So, let's finish this by taking a look at one epic shot of using a shoehorn. Probably the most boring, yet most essential device ever.